Hello all, welcome back to operating system course. So in the last class we had started with the chapter 2, that is process management, and we had seen the contents of the chapter, and we had started with the introduction. We had seen what is a process, then we had seen till process state, right? Next we will talk about process control block, that is PCB. So each process is represented in the operating system by a PCB. I'll repeat again. Each process in the operating system will be represented as process control block or PCB. Okay. So this is some basic diagram of PCB. So it contains many pieces of information, right? Your process, it contains many pieces of information such as process state, number, counter, registers. So these are, to name a few, these are the things, but it can have multiple things apart from these, whatever you can see in the diagram. Okay, so these whatever you can see from the diagram, these are the information about that particular process, and it is specific to a particular process. Okay, so now we'll understand what are these things, what do you mean by process state, number, counter, and all. Okay, so process state, just now we had seen in the last slide, right? This one, process state. So there are 5 process states. So your PCB, it contains process state. That means what is the current status of your process? Either it is in new status, terminated status, waiting status, whatever it may be, right? We have 5 status here. Then process number. So what is a process number? So this is a unique number which will be given to your process. Okay. Then you have program counter. You know this one. What is a program counter, right? It indicates the address of the next instruction to be executed in this particular process. Okay. Then we have registers. Basically your CPU registers. So these registers vary in number as well as the type depending on your computer architecture. So they include your accumulator registers, index registers, stack pointers, general purpose registers, plus any condition code information. Okay, so along with this program counter, the state information must be saved when an interrupt occurs. Okay, so we'll talk about this particular thing in the next slide. So in the PCB, just whenever registers are mentioned, just know that. So your all the registers like general purpose registers, accumulators, index register, etc. will be uh, noted down here. Okay, next you have CPU scheduling information. Maybe you are not seeing that in the diagram, but as I said, it can have, your PCB can have multiple things. Okay, so it also has CPU scheduling information. So this information includes a process priority, pointers to scheduling queues, and any other scheduling parameters. Now, what is CPU scheduling and all? We'll see in the future chapters. Okay, and your PCB, it also contains memory management information. So it may include the information such as the value of your limit register or the base register, page tables, segment tables, depending on the memory system that is used in your operating system. And again, this one, memory management, we'll see in the future chapters. Next is accounting information. So here accounting information means it includes the CPU time, uh, time limits, account numbers, job or process numbers, etc. Okay. Then you have IO status information as well. Like IO status information means what are the IO devices allocated to this process, how many open files are there, etc. Okay. Again, this memory limits, it comes under your memory management information, and list of open files, it comes under your IO status information. Okay, fine. So I'll brief out again this process control block. What is it, right? So each process will be represented in the operating system by a process control block. That means in the operating system, your process, okay, whenever it is in the memory. So how that will be represented to a operating system? It contains your process state, that is the current status of your process, the unique number of that process, program counter values, register values, memory limits, what are the IO devices required. All this information about a specific process will be given in a PCB. Each and every process will be having this PCB, and the information it differs from process to process. Okay, yeah, okay. So we were talking about CPU registers in the PCB, right? Process control block. So I had said along with your program counter, state information has to be saved, right? Now, whenever interrupt occurs, the state has to be saved. So how that will be done is shown in this diagram. Okay. So say suppose we have two processes P0 and P1. Okay. And say suppose your process P0 is currently executing. Fine. And say after some point here, okay, at this point an interrupt occurs. So when the process P0, when it was executing, after some point say that some interrupt occurred. Now whenever the interrupt occurs, right, the state of this process has to be saved. Now where it will be saved, right? Now that state would be saved into the PCB of this particular process. Remember, as I said, each process will be having a PCB. So suppose this is a PCB for process 1 and this is a PCB for process this is for process P0 and this is for process P1. Okay, so whenever an interrupt occurs, the current state of this particular process has to be saved in its PCB. Then what will happen? In the meantime, this P1 was idle, right? Why? Because this was executing, P0 was executing. So now in the P0, a interrupt has occurred so that your process P1 can be started executing. So it can't be started automatically. First, its state has to be read out from its PCB. So your operating system, what it does, it reloads or it reads the state of this PCB process P1 from its PCB, and it starts executing this process P1. Fine. In the meantime, what will happen? This would be idle, either performing interrupt service routine or maybe back to the ready state. Okay. Say suppose when this process P1 was executing, a interrupt occurs at some point here. Okay, interrupt occurs here. Now what will happen? The same process continues. When an interrupt occurs, the state of this process P1 will be saved onto its PCB. Then it would be idle. That means it would be doing either interrupt service routine or some other activity, or it would be idle. Then whenever it is idle, what your operating system can do is it can jump back to your process P0 and it can start executing. Jump back to process P0 means it has to reload the state of this process P0. Understand this one? Okay. So this is how your CPU will be switched from process to process. So first the CPU or your processor was with P0, it was executing, interrupt occurred, then processor or your CPU switched to P1. When it was executing, another interrupt occurred, again CPU switched to process P0. Okay, so this shows how your operating system manages this particular CPU switches. Okay. Next, we'll talk about threads. Okay, so thread is an execution unit that is a part of a process. Basically, thread is a subset of your process. So, a process can have single thread or multiple threads. Whenever it has multiple threads, it can execute all the threads at the same time. It is a unit of execution in your concurrent programming. Okay, so threads are of two types, single thread and multi-threads. Okay, again thread is nothing but it is an execution unit which is part of process. thread is a subset of your process. Okay, so as you can see here in the diagram, this one, okay, single threaded process, you can see code, data, files, stack, registers, right? So this we had seen in the process, right? So this process has a single thread. Now this thread makes use of all this data. Okay, whenever you have a single thread which is in a process make use of all this data. But in a multi-threaded process, what will happen is, so the code, data and files will be same, but each thread will have their separate registers and stack. Okay, so this is about your threads. That's it for today. We'll conclude our session. Thank you.